guys, I have a wild beast. I have a wild beast. She's feeling feisty. She's feeling feisty. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You gonna go get it? You get that squirrel. She's gonna go get the squirrel now. Good morning, friends. Got a little wild thing in my backyard today. How are you doing? It's Friday. It's Friday. I can't believe it's Friday. Can you tell the difference between the days anymore? It's been kind of weird because, come on, Fred. Nobody's over there. It's been kind of weird because it's like summertime where all the days kind of just bleed one into the other. But I'm glad to be able to teach a little bit because it keeps me on track. I don't know about you, but this little bit of teaching is keeping me on track. You know, I started thinking about Zack and his situation and how he's got a lot of worries. And I started thinking about how you might also be feeling a little bit worried these days. And what do you do with all those worries that you have? The things that you can control and the things that you can't control. Because there's a lot in our lives that we have control over. And there's a lot in our lives that, especially when you're a kid, you don't have control over. And so we're going to look at Zack's situation from Nebulon Zack today. And we're going to look specifically at what I can control and what I can't control. So we're going to read Chapter 3 of Nebulon Zack. Or sorry, Galaxy Zack, who's moving to Nebulon from planet Earth. And but to do that, we're going to look at what you can control and what you can't control. So these two charts over here today are specifically talking about things that you can control and things you can't control. Because we all, especially as children, have lives where things are happening that we can control and that we can't control. And so I have a little list, I guess, of things that we can practice with at first. So, who I choose to be friends with. Can I control that? Yes, I can. I can't control who maybe wants to be friends with me, but I can control who I choose to hang out with at recess. What about this one? What I say and how I say it. Do I have control over that? Absolutely. I have choices in the way that I say things to people. But this one, getting sick. Do you have control over that? So that's one of those things that's really irritating. You can't control getting sick. And if you know me well, every time I get sick, I go, I hate being sick. This is a tough one in class. Other people's behavior. Do you have control over that? What somebody else does? What I do as a teacher? What the kid next to you? You do not have control over it. Even the teacher doesn't have control over what somebody else does or chooses to do. We can try. How I treat people. You do have control over that. How you choose to treat somebody. You can choose to be polite or rude. You can choose to listen to them or not. How people react to me. So this is what I was just saying as a teacher. I don't have control, but I do have the ability to give people respect and hope that they respect me in return. So I don't have control how people react to me. Even though sometimes we really want to be able to control somebody else, we don't always have the ability to. But do you have control over this? How I react to people? When somebody does something, do I have control over how I can respond? If somebody hits me, can I control what I do in return? Can I control if I hit them or not? Can I control if I go get help from somebody? Yeah, that's something we work on a lot as second graders, is how we react to other people. Asking for help. Do you have control over that? Yes, you do. And that can be a scary thing, to ask for help. I know a lot of kids are still learning how to do that. But this one, this is a hard one. Who likes me? Do you have control over that? Unfortunately, no. And there are some times when we go, why don't they like me? And it hurts our feelings and it makes us feel sad about that. But that's not something that we have control over. Learning from my mistakes. You can either just go, oh, I'm terrible at this, or you can choose to change whatever it was that helped you to make that mistake and try to learn from it. So learning from my mistakes is definitely something that I can control. Ooh, this is a tricky one. My parents' expectations. You don't have control over that. That's hard to accept for some people, that they can't control what their parents want them to do or want them to be like. Ooh, you can't see that very well. Let me pull this back a little bit. How hard I try. You have control over that. Even though you might want to give up, you do have control over how much effort you put into something and how hard you try. What others say? That's right. You do not have control over other people's actions, other people's behavior, what other people say. My goals. You do have control over that. What you want to accomplish. The last one, the weather. I wish it was sunshiny every day. Is it? I don't have control over that. So I don't always get what I want when it comes to the weather. Now, I have some more of these for you, but these ones are more like kind of examples of what you have control over. My mom's mood. And if you don't have a mom that lives with you, your dad's mood, or grandma's mood, or sister's mood, or whoever you live with, do you have control over their mood? Who controls their mood? They do, not you. So that's not something that you can control, is it? I'm gonna go ahead and just put that on top. What about my mood? My attitude? Do I have control over that? Yes. One of the things I say is choose your attitude. And sometimes you choose to be grumpy. And sometimes you choose to be sad and show that to other people. And sometimes you can choose something else. I've seen it happen in class. I'll say, choose a different behavior, choose a different attitude, and I'll change my response, my behavior. Do you have control over that? Do you have control of whether, if somebody else says, let's throw rocks at this house? Do you have control over that, even though somebody else did it first or said to do it? Do you have control over that? Yes. That's an excuse I hear a lot. But he did it. That doesn't matter. You did it too. You had that choice. Going on vacation. Do you have control over that? Not usually. If your parents or family say, we're going on vacation, you better get ready and get in the car. Here's one. Doing my 20 minutes of reading every day. Do you have control over that? Yes. I talk about that all the time in class. You can do that in all kinds of different places. And what about when you go to the grocery store or somewhere where your family has to go, wearing a mask? Do you have control over that? Yes, you do. You can even just put a handkerchief over your face, and then here's this one, coronavirus or COVID-19, whatever you want to call it. Do we have control over that? We have so little control over that they shut schools and businesses for weeks and weeks now because we don't have control over COVID-19. So we're going to go ahead and look at Zack. Of course, an airplane's going overhead right now. And we're on Chapter 3, where he's landing on planet Nebulon. The space cruiser drifted down. Soon a busy spaceport came into view. "What are those other cruisers, Dad?" asked Zack. He stared down at what looked like tiny flying spaceships. They zoomed around in the air. "Oh, those are Nebulon cars." Here's Miss Nosy coming over. On Nebulon, cars and trains glide through the air. No more bumps or potholes. "Landing, landing, landing," the computer repeated. A few seconds later, the Nielsen's space cruiser touched down on Nebulon. When they stepped outside, an odd-looking man greeted them. Welcome to Nebulon, Otto Nilsson and Otto Nilsson's family, he said. Zack stared at the man. He was slightly taller than Dad. His head was egg-shaped and his arms were long and skinny. They dangled down to his knees. Hi, Fred. Thanks for meeting us. Sorry, I was looking to see where Fred was at. Said Dad, everyone, this is Fred Stevens, my new boss at Nebulonics. Fred lifted his hand with his palm facing out. Then he moved his hand in a small circle in front of his face. Like this. Zack looked at his sisters. What is this guy doing? He whispered. Dad made the same movement with his hand. That's how Nebulites shake hands, Dad explained. Fred, this is my wife, Shelley. Mom raised her hand and made a circle. How do you do? She said with a giggle. How do I do what? Fred asked, looking very puzzled. That's how Earthlings say hello, Dad explained. Well then, how do you do? And these are my daughters Charlotte and Kathy, Dad continued, and my son Zack. Nice to meet you. Mr. Stevens, the twins said. Hi, Zack added. It's time to choose a car and go to your new home, said Fred. The Nilssons followed him to the spaceport's main terminal. I'm going to pause for a minute. Because Zack has some choices or things happening in his life. Did he get to choose to move to Nebulon? Nope. That was something his dad's job had to do. So moving to Nebulon was not something he could control. Does he have control over this? Whoops. Being nervous. I don't usually have control if I'm nervous. I can try to calm myself down, and I'll talk about a strategy for that in just a minute. But being nervous is not something that I have a lot of control over. What about being polite to his dad's new coworker? Does he have control over that? Isn't that part of choosing his attitude? I think he can control that. Choose his attitude. And I put all of the Zack ones on this bright color. What about how to say hello? Does Zack have a choice for that? Can he control how he does that? Yes, he can. And this next one, you're going to find out. Try to make a guess. Choosing a car. Does he have control over that? Let's find out. It's time to choose a car and go to your new home, said Fred. The Nilssons followed him to a spaceport's terminal. They soon arrived at a big sign that simply read, Cars. So who chooses a car in your house? Your family, your parents, your grandma, your mom and dad? Who does it? We are here, Otto Nilsson, said Fred. I will leave you to choose a car. I will see you at the office tomorrow. Goodbye, Otto Nilsson's family. Fred Stevens left the spaceport. Zack looked at the tall shelves under the Cars sign. Small boxes that came in hundreds of different colors floated in rows. So can he control choosing a car? Dad, I don't see any cars here, said Zack. All I see are some box things. Welcome to Nebulon, Zack, Dad said. Pick a color. Okay, green, I guess, said Zack. Green it is, Dad said. He reached up and pulled a green box from the shelf. Watch this. Dad pressed a button on the box. It instantly changed into the coolest car Zack had ever seen. So did he have control over choosing a car? Lucky ducky, he sure did. Hop in, everyone, Dad said. It's all ours. Does this thing have GPS, Dad? Zack asked as he got into the car. Better than GPS, buddy, replied Dad. Look. Dad pressed a button on the dashboard. 122 Zoid View, Crescent City, he said. Then he leaned back and placed his hands behind his head. Calculating, said a voice from the dashboard. Without warning, the car sped out of the spaceport and into traffic. All right. So, can he control what his new house looks like? Nope. Can he control his reaction to the new house? Yep. He can walk in and be like, this place is horrible. Or he can go, I don't love it, but I'm going to. Can he control the differences between Earth and Nebulon? He can't control that. So when you have those things that you can't control, this is a little strategy that works for a lot of people. I know that when I start feeling upset about things I can't control, I write about them a lot of the time. And so I found this really cool box. You know how Star Wars, the women of Star Wars, love them. And you can take things that you can't control, like being nervous, write it down and stick it in a box. Sometimes just writing those things down and putting them somewhere to keep them helps you to stop worrying about them. To recognize that you don't have control over something is helpful for you to stop worrying about them. So if you're worried about coronavirus, write it down and put it in a box. Talk to somebody else about it. Drop it off, get it out of your head, and that can help you a lot. All right, my friends, it is Friday. So that means for 2 days we don't have lessons. But I want you to play outside, be kind to your family, and make sure and share some love with somebody like I'm sharing with you right now. I love you guys. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you on Monday.